What do you think is that era? Like, is that like the best era of your time?
You're going live
I know we are live. Is that when was the Alabama era? The best era right now?
right now.
Was it 2010 or 11 for Alabama?
We're kind of living in it right now. I don't know if
No,
we've
I
quite
don't think
peaked.
so. His best days were his first 3-4 years.
I don't know, man. I think that he's still climbing. I don't know if he's quite peaked yet.
Man, you're like the Steeler fans. You really believe goes that Roethlisberger is the greatest quarterback, and he only won one quarterback. Anyways, welcome to the Sportscast, August 4th, 2020. If you haven't yet, please subscribe on all our channels, YouTube, Periscope, and iTunes. And if you're in iTunes, like Justin Riley is, leave a rating and review, which he hasn't. It'll help us out tremendously. And of course, visit us on thesportscast.net, thesportscast.net. We do have some soccer news. We don't call it, cover just college football and NFL, which everyone's opting out by the end of the week. But you can visit us there and definitely get the latest news. And of course, this episode is brought to you by Insta Bible app, and it pays for all the bills. And hopefully, you guys could download it so we could definitely keep the show going during this pandemic. Tonight is the Bama cast. Alabama is one of the greatest college football teams in the world. Definitely one of the greatest dynasties. But if you ask a Ohio State fan, they might think otherwise. But anyways, we got Justin Riley, a man that walks outside, takes long walks with masks. Welcome back to the Sportscast.
Yeah, man, I have to. It helps me clear my head of all the nonsense that I encounter on a daily basis, especially when I deal with the general public on a day-to-day basis. But yeah, I have to agree to you, man. Maybe the Ohio State fan base might not agree with that assessment, but if you look at facts alone, it definitely proves our theory to be right.
I hope so. I mean, I honestly, when I was in Alabama, I was convinced that they're one of the greatest. I think we're living in the greatest times. Now, you did have that one poll question about a couple, I think it was last week or 2 weeks ago, that who was better, Bear Bryant or Nick Saban? There are a lot of Bear Bryant defenders.
There absolutely were. Now, I put that on my Twitter account, and then I put that on a Sportscast Twitter account, and the response was actually different on each account. For some reason, on my account, I had more of a pro Saban crowd. And then on the Sportscast account, there was definitely a strong voice coming from the older generation or those who are very, very well attached to Coach Bear Bryant. Of course, you really can't discredit either coach. You can't really say anything negative about either coach. They're both equally
How many championships
great.
does Bear Bryant have?
Coach Bryant has 6, and so does Coach Saban. They're
They're
tied with
tied
each
at
other.
6. So he's going to break the record soon.
He has the opportunity. It's definitely there. This season is definitely shaping up talent-wise and with what we have coming back to put us in a position to possibly do it.
But this pandemic could put Alabama in their favor. I mean, well, I don't know. You're playing all SEC teams, Justin, but I mean, they could still make it to the SEC championship.
It's very possible. Now, the road to the championship in Atlanta is definitely going to be a much bumpier one, and a much tougher one. So, we'll
no
be
one's going
adding
to come out
Florida to the
like undefeated. No one's going to come undefeated out of that.
I would be shocked if anyone survives the kind of gauntlet like the SEC teams are about to face unscathed. I just don't see it happening. Now, if somebody does, my gosh, they are definitely deserving of the number 1 seed in the college football playoff, however that looks this year.
Or maybe in the world.
In the world, for sure.
Anyways, the schedule hasn't come out yet. I think the schedule is going to come out in a few days. What have you heard when that schedule is coming? I mean, they do have till September 26th, but they can't announce it to, September 1st or anything.
I'm basically hearing any day, any moment, any minutes. Right. That's basically what I'm hearing right now. I don't really understand what could be holding it up. It's a fairly simple equation to fill out, so we should have it. And we need to see what's in front of us. Definitely the coaches and players need to see it. I'm sure the coaches will have first dibs before the general public does. But it's time for us to see what we're looking at.
What has Nick Saban said about it? Like, has he said, I mean, has he complained about it, or he's like, well, It is what it is.
More so the second statement you just made. It is what it is. We got a job to do, and we're going to go do it. He's not going to be one who makes excuses or complains. He just knows he has a job to do. I'm sure he wants to see exactly what kind of picture that looks like so he can plan. But to Nick Saban, it's a job. It's time to go to work.
Because he wasn't a fan of the whole college football playoffs, like when it first started.
Well, I think a lot of people's minds, including his, have been changed as the years have progressed and the circumstances have created. So I'm sure that his thought process has definitely changed now. I think it was greatly needed.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree. I was we were having a cast last week with Ryan Krista, and we were talking about, with Rennie, he's the ESPN sportscaster, and he was saying this is the best year to experiment. Like, let's go 18 playoffs and see how it goes.
I absolutely think it is, and why not? What would be the downside of doing that? You get an experiment right now. So if it fails, oh well, you tried it, it didn't work. You toss that formula aside. You go back to the old way of doing it. If it does work, wow! All of a sudden we see what it can do, and what kind of platform it creates for these teams. And my gosh, I just think a whole nother level of excitement is created because of it.
Yeah, I think I was 4-6, but let's go 8. I think the only worry is injuries, but this season everyone is playing 10 games, and that's about normal, right? Or like everyone plays 11.
11 or 12, and then you have conference championships, and then you've got the bowl games, playoffs. But yeah, it's actually less now. But I mean, everybody across the board is playing the same amount of games. I think the ACC has a +1 still. I have to go back and check my notes, but it's pretty much the same across the board. And if the thing is, injuries can happen at any time. So to use that as a valid argument is ridiculous. Like I said, this quit looking for reasons not to do this. Let's see what can happen if we institute it. I think we had to have at least a 16 playoff given the formula set up here, because if you only take the top 4 teams, well, what if all the teams from the top conferences come out undefeated? Let's just say that happens. You tell me that 5th team that won their conference championship, undefeated, should not be playing for more? I don't think so. I think there needs to be at least 6, but I think 8 would probably be the better formula.
Yeah, definitely be a good thing. I can't wait what's going to happen. The schedule will come out in a few days, I believe, which is what I've been hearing from my sources. Looking forward to like with last week, we didn't talk about much about LSU. Is it because they're in a rebuilding stage, or?
They absolutely are in rebuilding stage. They lost a lot of talent to the NFL this season, most notably at quarterback, Joe Burrow. And also, too, a lot of people try to forget that they just lost a big reason why their offense was as successful under Burrow as it was. They lost that coordinator. His name just escapes me, to the Carolina Panthers.
Something to definitely look at.
So they have some talent. They have some talent, but they lost a lot of people.
Another thing we're looking at beyond college football is The Rock buying the XFL for $15 million. Justin, what are your thoughts about that? That came out of nowhere. I thought that the XFL was dead.
Man, hey, if anytime The Rock's involved, man, it's going to be exciting. It's going to be a major announcement. It's going to be explosive. And my gosh,
but will it be successful?
Absolutely. Now, I think the XFL had a good structure in place to succeed. To be honest with you, I think the only reason why they quote unquote failed this season was because of the pandemic. It put everything to a stop. So I really don't think that we can say that they failed. But it already had good structure as opposed to the AAF, which had absolutely no structure whatsoever. Now with The Rock, who's probably one of the top businessmen Dwayne Johnson is one of the top businessmen in America, if not the world, is putting his seal on things. And I just think it gives more stability to the whole picture of the XFL. And it's just going to be a whole lot more exciting. And I think we're going to have a really good product. It definitely gives it a chance.
Yes, Johnson went with another partner with Danny Garcia, an investment firm called Redbird Capital. They purchased XFL's parent company, Alpha Entertainment. I did not know that XFL had a parent company called Alpha Entertainment. The purchase comes just days before the football league was set to go to a bankruptcy auction, which we were talking about what happened to the XFL, and it was going towards bankruptcy. In a statement in the purchase first shared by ESPN's Kevin Seifert, Johnson said, "The acquisition of the XFL with my talented partners, Danny Garcia and Jerry Cardinale, is an investment for me that rooted deeply in two things: my passion for the game and my desire to always take care of fans. With pride and gratitude for all that I've built with my own two hands, I plan to apply these caluses to the XFL and look forward to creating something special for the players, fans, and everyone involved for the love of football." Now, Justin, tell the audience, what is The Rock's career in football? How long did it last? Where did he play?
He was first seen at the U in Miami, played for the Hurricanes, was very successful there. I think injury kind of limited him and his ability to excel. He didn't get an opportunity in the NFL, or if he did, it wasn't very long. He did go to the XFL, not the XFL. He went to the CFL briefly. It just didn't work for him. So he packed his bags and decided to come home. And he told his daddy that, hey, I want to come into the wrestling biz. And he came into his calling, and all of a sudden, boom, he became quite possibly the greatest wrestler there ever was, not only in the WWE, but across all brands. He's definitely up there with things like Hulk Hogan, Ric Flair, Shawn Michaels, and any other legendary icon that you can imagine. He perhaps has surpassed that. Not only did he conquer the WWE, but he went on to do what wrestlers in the past have not been able to do, and that's conquer the box office. And without question, the numbers don't lie, he has dominated at the box office, and he has produced incredible content every time that it hits the theater. And so now he is taken his business sense, and he's been very successful in the business world in many ventures. But now he's applying that to the XFL, and I can't wait to see what The Rock is cooking when it comes to the XFL.
That's a good segue. Do you think Vince McMahon will be involved still, or do you think he's done with the XFL?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he did in a small part, but I think he probably is going to move on and let the others handle it right now. I think that he is going to stick with the WWE, and especially, his age. He's in his 70s, and
oh wow, he's up there in age.
It's hard to believe that much time has passed. But I think he's going to focus on his baby and running that until he feels like it's time to retire, which I don't think it won't be too far from now.
Anyways, Justin Riley, that is the update for today's headlines. Can you do the honors for tonight's guest?
Oh, I definitely will. But first, whether you're getting a pregame meal or having a postgame celebration, Rama Jammas is the place to go for the best game day experience. They've been serving the Crimson Tide community with the best food, shakes, and sweet tea around since 1996. Wow. Stop by today. All right, guys, it's Tuesday. That means we are spending time with a legendary Alabama football player, and we have one today. He's a 1999 SEC champion. He's an all-SEC selection, a team captain, and a member of the Baltimore Ravens and San Francisco 49ers. Ladies and gentlemen, he's a part of Tight End U, Terry Jones Jr.
Man, how y'all doing?
Terry Jones, man.
Great to be here. Glad to see you, man. I love your background.
Hey, appreciate it. All right, sad backstory. Like I said, I know we the Tide. I know we We
The
hate
Ravens?
Eagles, the Ravens, the Eagles and stuff, but like you said, it's the school down the head football coach. Our school colors are orange and blue, and we are the Eagles. So it's kind of a funny story with me
Kind of puts
coming
you in a
here.
difficult, kind of difficult position, huh? With those colors.
It is. But like you said, it's
is
part
what
of
it
the
is.
process. It is what it is.
Now,
Do you
go ahead, Justin. Go ahead.
do you feel like you got to wear something crimson underneath your shirt or something like that?
Even
I do.
underwear.
Yeah, I do. I try to make sure that we don't have anything. Like, I try not to put the colors orange and blue together as much as possible. My wife is an Alabama grad as well, and
Amen.
she's the same way. So she's really like, all right, I'm not wearing none of that crap. Like,
But
I like that mindset. That's a godly woman right there.
which fan base do you despise the most? Like Georgia fans or Auburn fans?
Or
man,
Tennessee.
I really think I'm trying to find me a good background because all the rest of them I look terrible in. But anyway, you know what? I think I hate the Georgia fans worse, just because, like I said, living here in the state of Georgia, like I said, sometimes they have a false sense of reality when it comes to stuff. But like I said, I don't know. Auburn fans would be bad too. It's a toss up.
It's up there, isn't it?
It depends on what time of the year it is. If it's around the SEC championship, then I hate Georgia fans. If it's around this Thanksgiving time, then I hate Auburn fans.
We interviewed a guy last week, and he had to decide between Auburn and Alabama, and he used he flipped a coin to make that decision. Can you believe that?
I can believe it. And like I said, I'm just like it's depending on the time of day. Like I said, really, if you
Santiago wasn't just a guy; it was his former teammate, Ahmad Galloway, and he said that Tennessee probably had to be the worst fan base.
What I'm talking about, like, is Cruz Oxenrider, like where he had to flip the coin to go to either Auburn or Alabama, but he chose Alabama. He's really blessed because he was there during the national championship years.
Yeah.
Back in the 10s. Anyways, Terry, let's get this show started. We ask every guest that comes on, how did you start with football? How did you get involved?
I'm going to tell you, like, really, I'm going to tell you a story. And if I ever get my dad on here, he'll tell you a totally different story.
He should have invited him.
So I want to get both of y'all on at some point this season.
Like I said, I'll make it work. I get it to work.
I have good memories of your dad at Alabama, so that'll be definitely a.
And when we get my dad on, he's gonna tell you a totally different story. So me and he have a conversation. He said, "I don't think you're tough enough to play football." And I was like, "I don't believe that." And then we all had another conversation, like, how many 6'3", 6'4" football players do you see, and how many 6'3", 6'4" basketball players that you see that's your size and stature? And when he told me that, I was like, all right, I'll go give it a shot. And then, like you said, I played my junior year of high school at Central. Like I said, we won the region or won the area. I was all conference, preseason, number 2 kid coming out my senior year of football. So like I said, that's really how I got into playing football. But I always been a fan of football. I think my dad he kind of mind tripped me because he put some of his old football game tapes in my closet. So when I got tall enough, I found some of the tapes. And I would go in there and pull out it was VHS tapes, and I would pull out the tapes and I'd be watching the games. He recorded every single game that he played in. And so I would sit there and just watch the games and ask him about what's going on and do those things. And one more thing, not to talk too much about this subject, but one thing is my grandmother when my grandmother was living, she used to live in Sandersville, Georgia. And she told me every time that she would turn on the TV and watch my dad play football every Saturday, every Sunday when she couldn't make it to the games. And so I loved my grandmother. So I was like, I want to be able to play football or get to the point where she can watch me on TV every Saturday and eventually every Sunday. So like I said, those are a couple of the things that I did to kind of get me into playing football or get me into the game.
Who was your favorite basketball player back when you were a kid?
Oh, Charles Barkley, no doubt. I had number 34. Like I said, that was my game was very, very similar to his. Like I said, I had the same kind of athleticism, same kind of build. Like I said, same kind of mentality that he did. And plus, he like I said, he went to Auburn, but he's an Alabama guy, so I got a chance to see him a lot. So,
Wow.
like I said, yeah, Charles Barkley's my guy.
Anyways, let's start with high school football. How were you in high school football? What was your stats and any honors and or like any records?
Like I said, like I only played one season of high school football. That was my junior year. So I had like 85 tackles, a couple of interceptions, but probably like 5 or 6 sacks. So people didn't pass the ball around as much as back then. Finishing up my junior year, I know I was all conference. I was a Playboy, All-American, whatever you want to call it. I think that's what they called it back then. Coming into my senior year, I was rated the number 2 football player in the state of Georgia, and I was rated the number 1 basketball player. In the state of Alabama, number 2 football player in Alabama, and number 1 basketball player in the state of Alabama. My teammate at the time, Tyler Watts, was number 1 in football. So like, there's a couple of them that I can remember.
Can you tell us about your recruiting process at that time, and did missing your senior year affect that?
It did. Like I said, it hurt some, but like I said, I was playing basketball, and then it was slow in the beginning. I was getting recruited by Georgia Tech, and Indiana recruited me during that early fall. The guys at Alabama at the previous time really wasn't recruiting me just because my dad worked there. So, like I said, I guess they assumed that I was just coming there just because of the family name.
Right.
So me and my dad had a conversation. I told him, I was like, I would love to come to Alabama. Like I said, and to tell you the truth, I really wanted to go to Auburn because I just wanted to get away from my dad. I wanted to get away from the city because I was born and raised in Tuscaloosa. And I really did want to go to Auburn just to get away, just to get out the city. But they never
Auburn approached you, or?
Huh?
Did Auburn approach you?
They didn't. Like I said, Auburn didn't approach me. My grandmother lived in Washington County, was like an hour and a half from Athens. I wanted to go to Georgia so I can be close to her. They never recruited me just because they knew, like I said, my dad worked at Alabama, so they just assumed that I was going there. But like I told my dad, I really didn't. I wasn't gonna go to Alabama unless they treated me just like everybody else. And they came out the recruiting process, and then that's when Dabo came out and he started recruiting me when he was there coaching receivers and talking to me and got me on an official visit. And then the rest of it's history.
Wow. You know, it's funny because we hear Georgia Tech a lot back in those days.
Yep.
Why is that, Justin? Is it because were they huge back then, or was it?
Well, in the 90s, they were definitely one of the, they were a good team. I think they won a national title in the early 90s.
They did. I think like 90, they split a title with somebody in the 90s. I can't exactly remember.
Was it Colorado?
Yes, that's what they split.
Yeah.
Wow.
They had a good program during that time. It's not like at all what you see now on the field.
No, they're like non-existent
the funny
now.
thing about it, the guy that recruited me, I think it was Lance Thompson, that ended up coming to Alabama. He was the guy that was recruiting me when he was at Georgia Tech. And like I said, I really did like Georgia Tech. And then, like I said, I liked Indiana too. It was just cold. Me and my mom went up there in December for a recruiting visit. And like I said, me being from Alabama, I never been anywhere with snow. So I didn't bring a thick jacket. And so when I got up there and it was snowing, and Antoine Randall was my host, I was like, hey, I love the place. I got a chance to meet Bobby Knight because they're going to give me an opportunity to play football and basketball while I was there. And I got a chance to go to a practice in the what's the name of that gym? I can't remember. Whatever they call the gym. I went to a practice and sat there and talked to him. He knew me, my mom, my family. He knew our background, but it was cold. I went there in December. I just wasn't used to it.
Weather was a huge deciding factor. Weather was a huge deciding factor there.
It was. If I was probably prepared for it, I probably could have got used to it, but I wasn't prepared for that.
You ever had the chance to meet Erwin Dudley?
I did. Like I said, Erwin is married to my pastor in Tuscaloosa. I mean, my pastor's daughter in Tuscaloosa. So Kevin Kroon, who was an alum and a fellow former football player at Alabama, Erwin is married to his daughter. So I know Erwin forever. Like I said, just growing up through the church, playing basketball, doing different things like that. Yeah, he's a really good dude.
Yeah, because we had him a few weeks ago. He's like our only Alabama basketball guy. Hopefully we'll get more. Maybe you can help us out Get some more interviews. Who was your close second when it came to the recruiting process?
A close second, it was probably Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech was a close second into the recruiting process. It was, like I said, it was far enough away from being home where I could be away from home and be in another city, but if I needed to get back home, I could. But like I said, but at the end of the day, I could never leave. It would have been hard for me to leave Tuscaloosa. It would have been hard for me not to be at the University of Alabama and be there, be as a part of a university that my mom had graduated from, my dad graduated from, and now like I said, I got two sisters that graduated from the University of Alabama, and like I said, and my baby brother graduated from the University of Alabama, and my wife. So, like I said, Tuscaloosa has some great memories for me, not just growing up there, but at the University of Alabama as well.
Hey, man, I love to hear that. I came from an Ole Miss family, nothing but Ole Miss legacies, and I decided I wanted to do something different. And at a very young age, I discovered Alabama, and that's where I always wanted to go. By the grace of God, I had the ability to go. But so I can definitely understand how you wanted to kind of get out of the shadow of everything of what you were accustomed to, and you want to do something different. I like to talk about this with each of the players we've interviewed from the Alabama squad of your era. During this time, the Crimson Tide weren't like what the modern day fan is accustomed to. We were rebuilding under Coach Mike DuBose. What was the atmosphere like for you at that time?
Like I said, it was still a good atmosphere. Like I said, we had a lot of great kids, a lot of great players, a lot of great coaches. You go back and look through that coaching staff. We got a lot of guys that are still coaching to this day. Like I said, some guys that, like I said, we got Dabo, we got Charlie, Coach Cheese. Like I said, we got a lot of guys that was coaching on that staff. Like I said, they got a chance to still coaching to the day and moving on. But we had a lot of great players. We had some good kids. We had some great players. Like I said, unfortunately, our sophomore year when we played in the Orange Bowl, we were one play away from possibly playing the national championship. And then, like I said, then come out junior year, we just had a lot of injuries. And like I said, it just, when you're going through a winning championship like Nick Saban has, like I said, it's a lot of it got to come with coaching, but a lot of it got to come with luck. Like I said, you got to be able to stay healthy. The ball got to bounce your way, as we can see in a couple of games where the ball just didn't bounce our way, and some strange stuff has happened. But while we're there at Tuscaloosa, we had some, like I said, we had some good times. We had some great teams, and like I said, it's hard to compare teams that we have now to what they are then to what they are now, just because the facilities are different, the climate is different. Like I said, we was building that Alabama name back up. And like I said, and Nick Saban and got there and he built that Alabama name up and he's able to keep it there. And that's the hardest thing in sports, is to be consistently good year in and year out, because like I said, you got guys that get complacent. You get injuries, you get coaches that move around and stuff. And that's one of the things, like I said, with Coach Saban, what he's done, I admire with him, is every year it's almost like it's a JUCO team as far as coaching staff, because every year he got a new coaching staff. He got players that are leaving out. And he found a way to trust the process and stick to his guns and keep pulling out championship product.
How was Coach Swinney back in the day? And are you surprised that he's become this successful?
No, I'm not. Like I said, Coach Swinney is the same person that he is now that he was then. Like I said, that's the one thing that you'll get out of him. He's not going to change. He's going to be the exact same person that he's going to be day in and day out. And like I said, it's when you care about your players, the way he care about his players and care about his program and care about his school, you're going to be successful. Because you can tell when you got a coach that's doing it for the players and doing it for the program and not doing it for the money.
Your sophomore year, we had a pretty special team in 1999. Mm-hmm. Two big milestones were accomplished. We defeated Auburn at Jordan-Hare Stadium for the first time ever and won the SEC championship for the first time since 1992. What was the bigger accomplishment, and what were those experiences like?
Probably the Auburn game was bigger, just because the SEC championship, we get a ring for it and you get a chance to remember it, but we all know when you're inside the state of Alabama, those Auburn games are meaningful for years and years to come. And like I said, us getting the chance to beat Auburn for the first time in Auburn, like I said, that's one of those memories that like I said, you'll never like I said, you'll never forget.
How was Auburn back then? Like, how was their talent base?
Like I said, they always been a talented team. Like I said, every coach that came through, and they got a lot of great talent. Like I said, the thing about it with me coaching high school here in Georgia and Auburn kind of being so close, they got a lot of great talent from the state of Georgia. Especially like when Troup County being 45 minutes away, you're an hour and a half away from the city of Atlanta. Like I said, you're an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours away from Mobile. Like I said, they had that part of the state and part of Atlanta. Like I said, they had a lot of pipeline of kids coming through there. And like I said, they had a lot of talent because like once we left, it was a few years. I think that's when they went on their run where they beat Alabama like 7, 8 years in a row, I think. I'm not sure.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, I remember it all too well. Of course, the SEC back in that day, I mean, they definitely were not short of talent. I mean, look across the board, every team, how much NFL talent that those teams produced. It's unbelievable.
No, you're right. And like I said, even like I said, back then, Tennessee was the team that was running the SEC. Because in my playing days at Alabama, I'd never beaten Tennessee while I was there. Because like I said, they had Peyton Manning. Defensively, they had like Al Wilson, Raynard Thompson, John Henderson. Like I said, they was loaded at Tennessee. When I mean like back then, Tennessee is what Alabama is now and what Georgia is starting to become. Like all the talent was starting to drive to Knoxville. And year in and year out, they was up there trying to play for a national championship.
Tell us about that Orange Bowl game against Michigan. How was the whole experience, and what could you guys done differently that day?
Could have made some extra points. I know that for it.
Yeah. Oh, amen.
But
man,
like
I still.
I still, like I said, if my wife got on here, she'll tell you, because like I said, I still have nightmares. When that game come on, I cut it off about midway through the fourth quarter.
Wow.
But like you said, like I said, that was the beginning of Tom Brady. And like I said, the magic that he can be able to do. Like I said, of course, we could have played better and we could have did some things a little bit better. But like I said, you get some kids, you get them on South Beach, we will have a good time. And it took us a while to get our legs back, and Michigan found a way to capitalize on our mistakes.
After being the favorite to win the national championship in 2000, we finished 3-8, and head coach Mike DeBose was fired. Your teammate of mine, Galloway, said some of it was due to not having an offensive identity. What do you feel like led to this disappointing season?
Like I said, I think the biggest thing was injuries. Like I said, we had so many key players that end up getting hurt between spring practice, like Kendall Moorhead ended up getting hurt. And then, like I said, I ended up getting hurt toward the middle of the game. Freddie Mills ended up getting hurt a little bit later on during that season, I think. And like I said, and like I said, and some of it came by luck. Like I said, we go out to UCLA and we play a good game and we lose. But like I said, and it's tough. And like I said, and it's also tough. You come out with SEC championship team that got Chris Samuels, who's a top 5 pick. You got Sean Alexander, who is an NFL offensive player of the year. Like you said, you lose those guys, and then you lose a lot of leadership. And like you said, and you get some guys that's starting to get thrust into a leadership role. And so, like I said, and it's hard. Like I said, I know it from coaching high school. When you lose a lot of good leaders, and those kids that's behind them not used to having to be the guy in the front, it's hard for them. And like I said, it takes the adjustment period for them to be able to become the man and become the leader and become that alpha dog, because that's something you just can't flip on with a switch. Like I said, that's something that you got to know that you're the alpha. You got to know that you're the big dog, and you got to be able to go out there and stand on 2 feet, and you got to be able to take all the backlash, all the negative energy from everybody else, and just learn to keep on learning. Keep on leading.
Speak about leadership. When you first got there, who took you under like their wings? It could be a player or a coach.
Man, that's a good question. Like I said, it was Chris Edwards is the guy that always kind of took me under his wing when he first got there. Chris Samuels. Like I said, the thing about it, like with my dad being there, a lot of those guys kind of already knew who I was. So like I said, it's kind of hard to kind of pinpoint 1 or 2 different guys. but it's a lot of them that kind of took me under their wings and kind of showed me the way and showed a lot of guys that came with me the way because they knew that, like I said, we had a really, really talented class. Coach Cottrell did a great job of recruiting us that year, and they knew they had to try to get us going. Like I said, Kev Bailey is the guy, and Jason Jones, guys that played at my alma mater that was at Alabama. Like I said, those guys kind of helped pave the way for us. Tony Dixon. Like I said, it's so many of them that, like I said, it's hard to kind of count all of them. But like I said, a lot of time those guys did a good job of showing us what the way was, keeping us composure, keeping us going, making us want to get better, and kind of just pushing us and being competitive.
Which player really impressed you like the most on the field? Like, wow, this guy is like the best.
Man, I'm like I said, between, like I said, Chris Samuel was a kid, like I said, a guy, a grown man, excuse me. Like I said, it's just, like I said, you watch him play, like I said, and watch his feet. You just, like I said, it's beautiful to see. Like I said, especially being like I said, offensive guy, like I said, me being a tight end guy that loved the block, like I said, just seeing some of the things that he did in the pass game, seeing things that he did in the run game. Like I said, he's a guy that, like I said, he made a huge difference on our team.
After Dennis Franchione was hired, I can remember walking by the practice field after my workouts at that old weight room in the aquatic center. I could hear long absent excitement coming from the players. I mean, y'all were up for this. What was the atmosphere like during that transition, and was everybody just buying in?
Like I said, it took a minute for us to buy into the things that Coach Franchione was doing, just because he was new and he came in with a different approach than a lot of, and like I said, that we expected. But like I said, from an organizational standpoint, like I said, he brought some great coaches in. Mike Tomadol was my tight end coach that I still talk to him to this day. And like I said, he's probably one of the greatest coaches that I'd ever worked with or ever coached me, just teaching me the details. And like I said, with Coach with Dennis Franchione, he did the good things about trying to bring the energy, bringing leadership to our program, creating a leadership council. And like I said, and we kind of bought into it. It just, like I said, when he got there, some of his offensive scheme didn't fit our personnel, so we had to try to fit into what he wanted us to do offensively and defensively.
Terry, going into your final year, you had an injury coming in. What goals were you having for that last final year? Was it like that last impression for the NFL? Can you tell us like the whole experience with that final year?
Like I said, I was really just trying to come back and prove that, like I said, that I can play. Going into my junior year, coming off my sophomore year, like I said, I had a lot of NFL buzz coming out. I had a lot of all conference type things coming out. And like I said, I was having a really, really good year before I got hurt my junior year. So I really just wanted to come back and prove that I can still be that same person and then do whatever I need to help my team win.
What were the scouts telling you before heading in? Like, hey, we need you to have a good, solid season, or like what were they telling you?
Like I said, talking about before my junior year or my senior year?
Getting into like your last year, which is your senior year.
My senior year. Like I said, the biggest thing was just making sure I stay healthy. Right. Make sure that I can be able to still run and do well, which I did. Like I said, just still show I can be the same person that I was before the injury that I had my junior year. And that was one of the biggest things that I wanted to make sure that I got a chance to do.
And sticking with your junior year, we lost some close games in 2001, but improvement was very evident. It seemed like we saved our best game for the Iron Bowl, though. No one gave us a chance. We went into their house and gave them a whooping 31-7. Man, can you go through that experience for us?
Man, it's like I said, a couple of years ago, I did like an interview for my football camp. And I told them, like I said, the greatest feeling that you can have when you're on the road is when you can hear that silence in the stadium. And when you can really get a chance to hear when the people go to the concession stand and you hear them getting a drink and people talking in the stands. And like I said, when you can hear just Alabama fans cheering, that's probably one of the best feelings. And like I said, when you get a chance to go into your rival's house and take care of business that way, like I said, it's a great feeling.
Auburn was still the biggest rival then and now. Take us into going into the NFL that off season. Tell me like the build up, the whole process. What were scouts telling you? Like, were you going to be a first rounder, second rounder, things like that?
Like I said, going into the draft, I had like a mid second round, third round grade. So I expected to try to go early on in the second or third round. But a lot of it came back toward injuries and my durability. And like you said, you kind of like you said later on, you get a chance to see all the Mel Kiper reports and the scouting reports that people have on you.
Nothing's changed.
No, it hadn't changed. And that was one of the biggest things. Is like you said, just me coming off. I had an ACL in high school. I had an ACL in college. And the biggest thing was like, how well can he move? How well can he help us in the pass game? How long will he be able to play on those knees playing 16 football games? So that was part of the reason that I failed in the draft. But like I said, I'm just happy that I got an opportunity to get drafted. And I went to the right place. Like I said, getting a chance to go to Baltimore. Like I said, getting a chance to go play for Ozzie and play for Coach Billick. Like I said, and playing with great guys like Ed Reed and Ray Lewis. Like I said, it just, like I said, I went to a good place. And I went to a place where I got a chance to play early and got a chance to contribute from my rookie year all the way to, like I said, my last year there.
How was treatment back then, like medically for your knees? Was it, would you say that right now, like treatment for knees are better than it was, 10, 15 years ago?
It probably was a little bit, but like I said, I was making sure that I got a chance to do a good job. But like I said, I bought a game ready and I made sure that I iced my knees every single day and just take care of those things. And just made sure, like I said, it was a constant process that I did, was making sure that I ice my knees, take care of myself, lift weights, do all those type of things in the in season, the off season, make sure everything worked out.
And not only did you play for the greatest university there ever was, football wise, but man, you got drafted by my NFL squad. I'm telling you, I was excited that day. Ravens
Terry,
squad.
you're the perfect player for Justin.
I see.
Hey man, you're my first Raven to come on here, man. This is big.
I know. We're gonna dive deep on that too. So get ready.
Oh, absolutely. Well, yeah, definitely, man. I got some things going. Okay, you were drafted in the 5th round, which I still think is bogus. Like you said, you should have been drafted a whole lot earlier, but we're not going to stick with that. You were an excellent pass catcher at Alabama, just amazing blocker. What role did the coaching staff tell you initially that you were going to fill, especially after they selected Todd Heap in the previous draft?
Like you said, my biggest thing is that they want me to try to come in and compliment Todd Heap as much as possible. They knew that me coming in will help take Todd Heap from doing a lot of inline blocking things that wasn't his strong suit. They want to give him an opportunity to go out there and be able to catch balls and do those different type of things. And like I said, back then we ran it was too tight, or they call it U personnel, but a lot of two tight end personnel. So it was able to flank him outside and let him be a wide receiver and get that matchup that they wanted and give him an opportunity to showcase his athleticism. And it gave me an opportunity to do what I do best and get a chance to do inline blocking, maybe come back in the backfield and be like a fullback sometimes and give me a couple of easy passes off bootlegs and stuff, which I excelled in as my time with the Ravens.
And who was the biggest personality with the Ravens?
The biggest personality.
That's hard to say with that crew.
Who could it be?
It's a lot. It's a lot. Like I said, that Ravens squad, like I said, of course you got Ray Lewis. He was Ray. Adalius Thomas, a guy that he's a Southern Miss guy that I played against for. He's from Alabama. He was a character. Like I said, it was a lot of guys. Like I said, we had a good time. And the thing about it, but while we was at Baltimore, we knew when it was time to work, and we knew when it was time to play, and we just had a good time of doing both.
And when you came in, was that like Ray Lewis's team? Like you felt that when you got there?
Oh, it's always been Ray's team. Like I said, when we came in, it was 2 years removed from them winning the Super Bowl. And then the year before that, that's when they end up, like I said, getting rid of Shannon Sharp. And like you said, a lot of the guys that they had from the Super Bowl team that they had from the previous year, because we came in, I think we may have been one of the youngest teams in the NFL, because we ended up having like almost 19 rookies on our after roster that year.
How was the
Yeah.
defense back then?
The defense was always good. Like I said, that's the one thing when you get to a Baltimore Ravens team, it's always going to be built off of defense.
Yeah.
And like I said, we always was, like I said, there's always a really, really good defense, always in the top 5. Like I said, offensive, we just had to make sure that we didn't throw interceptions or fumble the ball and just gave them an opportunity to pin their ears back and get to work.
Yeah, you really don't even have to ask the question, how was the defense back then? I mean, it's
I mean, I don't know if they were like rebuilding back then. I mean, I wasn't. I mean, I can't remember.
No,
but.
man, they
No, that's
they
one
were
thing you have to worry about. Yeah, that's one thing you have to worry about with no Ravens team.
Yeah, they were the standard. That's one of the things I just loved about the Ravens was they played that old school type of ball that hit you in the mouth, blue collar type of ball, and I just loved the physicality. And I just didn't quite frankly see it in any other squad. So I just kind of felt like that was where I needed to be as a fan.
Mm-hmm.
But it felt like Baltimore had trouble finding their identity outside of Jamal Lewis, especially at quarterback. They couldn't really come up with an answer. With that being said, do you feel like you may have been underutilized at your position while you were there?
No, I don't think so. Because like you said, I fit what we needed for our team. That's the biggest thing. Like I said, our identity was to be able to run the ball, be able to do play action, and control the clock. And with me being able to come in, and like I said, with Ty Heat, we used a lot of 2 tight end personnel. We had Alan Ricard playing fullback and Jamal in the backfield. And it gave us an opportunity to play a lot of smash mouth football. And it gave us an opportunity to control the clock, give our defense a chance to rest, bleed some time out the clock, because more than likely, you weren't going to score more than 10 points, maybe 14 points at the most on our defense. So we just had to make sure that we took advantage of the opportunity that we had. And everybody know how Ed Reed is. He can go catch a punt on interception, and he's going to put up 7 by himself. So
absolutely, all
we had to do was just match another 7 and get matched over to kick us a field goal, and then we in the ball. And like I said, we celebrated in the locker room after the game.
You know that Ed Reed is here in Miami, so I hear him on like the radio sometimes. You still keep in touch with him?
I did. I'm gonna tell you a funny thing about it. I took my kids to a Falcons and Tampa Bay Buccaneers game. And so I took a select group of kids that had done well academically in school. So we get to the game, and this after Ed got nominated for the Hall of Fame, or it may have been after he got his gold jacket. So he was at the game on the sideline, and him and there was a couple other guys, and they were doing a spot for the through the NFL, through the NFL films. And when I got over there, I pulled them off to the side, and the kids were like, "Man, you don't know him. He played at Ravens." I was like, "All right, cool. Hey, Ed, what's up?" And then he came over there, gave me a big hug, and like I said, took pictures with the kids and got a chance to talk to them.
That's awesome.
And so, like I said, he still, like I said, he has a son that lives here in the city, and I know he comes back and forth to Atlanta sometime as well. So, like I said, I try to talk to him as much as I can, but I know he's a busy man. He's
a character. He's a character. Tell us your last days with the Ravens and what led the trade to San Francisco.
Like I said, that's the last day with the Ravens, changing offensive coordinator. I really got one of my good friends in, Daniel Wilcox. He came in as a tight end with the Ravens, and Darnell Dinkins. And like you said, those 2 guys was the combination of those 2 guys. And like I said, they went to a more passing game. They wanted a more athletic tight end than what I was, because I was more of an inline blocker. And so me and Wilcox, I joke with him all the time. I was like, "Man, I coached you out of my job. I coached you to take away my job." But like I said, he got an opportunity, and they came in, and like I said, midway through the season, I got released, got picked up by San Francisco. I started the last 8 games in San Francisco. But like I said, everything happened for a reason. And like I said, I'm happy about getting a chance to play in Baltimore, get a chance to go to California and play there as well.
What was the deal with San Francisco? What situation were you walking into?
Like I said, it was a rebuilding situation. Kind of Mike Nolan, I think it was kind of his first year or second year being the head coach. So they were still trying to find pieces and be able to build that team together. Eric Johnson was supposed to be their starting tight end that year, and I think he got hurt midway through the season. So that's when they was able to find me on waivers and bring me in. to be able to kind of help out in the tight end department and kind of get the ball moving.
I want to transition into the next phase. Like Santiago said, that was your final days in the NFL. Well, what a lot of people may not remember or even know about, shortly after that, you got picked up by a new league, the All-American Football League.
I've never heard of it until now.
Yeah, I remember it. I do. I really
was it on TV, Justin?
Huh?
Was it on TV?
It could have been. That's why.
It never. So it never made it. Like I said, they picked the teams, they picked the locations. We were getting ready to play, so we did like a media day type thing, and then about 2 weeks later, the league folded. But
what were they telling y'all? That's just. I mean,
did they pay you guys? I mean, what was the deal there?
No, like I said, we never got a chance to play. We never got a chance to practice. Like I said, it was we was kind of getting to the process of it. And like I said, it just didn't have a financial backing. So they went to a lot of college towns and got a lot of former players from the local colleges. Like we had a lot of Alabama, Auburn, and UAB guys on the team.
Wow.
They were going to get a chance to play. But like I said, it never really got off the ground.
Do you think this should be like another league, like a second division football league for players to have a second chance?
I think it would be good. Like I said, just to give, like I said, kind of like the D League, and like I said, you get a chance to get some guys that didn't make it to NFL, get them opportunity to play. And like I said, that's why, like I said, I love the XFL, because Gerald Dixon, another one of my former teammates, he was I might be saying it wrong. No, I think he was the director of pro personnel for the DC, with the DC Defenders.
Exclusive.
So they got a chance to, like I said, it was a great opportunity for kids, opportunity for players to get the opportunity to play not in the NFL and get a chance for those guys to see them playing actual games. Because when it comes to football, you really can't judge a guy from a T-shirt workout. You got to actually be playing the game.
Yeah.
Instead of like, you go see somebody play basketball and see them run through drills, and see them play 5-on-5 and know if they can play. When it comes
happened to Tim Tebow. Great in practice, but didn't have much game experience.
Yeah, and like I said, it was a great opportunity for those guys to get a chance to showcase their talent, get a chance to put some football on in the spring, and then, like I said, give them guys the opportunity to, like I said, make a little money.
Were you ever approached by the NFL Europe or CFL or?
I didn't, like I said, because I think the NFL Europe was in the CFL. It was kind of how many years I played in the NFL, and like based off experience, and I never got a chance. And with the CFL, it's a passing league, so I wasn't gonna be, like I said, I'm a run guy, so I wasn't really a fit for that league.
But you had hands, man.
I did, but, you know what I'm saying? But you go to the CFL, they weren't receivers. They're about putting up numbers. So
right,
like I said,
it's a whole different league, man. I mean, I watched a game or two, and it's wow. It's like rugby feels like. I don't know. It's weird.
It's wide open. It's wide open.
What about the CFL and, of course, NFL Europe? What about that formula? Do you feel like has provided the necessary structure for it to last as long as it has? Of course, before the NFL Europe eventually folded, what made it work, and what are the leagues like the AAF and then the XFL lacking that maybe they could get this second go around with the Rock running things?
So, like with the AFL, it was just trying to go into a saturated market. And like I said, it's kind of hard to get people to get onto football if you go to a place where it's all about football. Like you go to the state of Alabama, we're going to back our team because we don't have a pro basketball team, we don't have a pro football team. So if you give us any kind of football in the spring, guys are going to back it. But if you come to Atlanta, it's a lot of things to do up in Atlanta. You go some places in Florida, there's a lot of things for people to do in Florida. So it's kind of hard to get attendance in the stands. And like with the XFL is going to be successful. The only thing that slowed the XFL was the pandemic.
Right.
Yeah, and hopefully with The Rock buying it for $15 million, hopefully it'll be resurrected. And Justin's pretty confident about that.
I am too. Like I said, I think he's going to come back, and I think it's going to be even better. But like I said, it just they had a great start. They had the TV contracts, they had the players, they had the games, they had very competitive games, really good team, really good coaches. So hopefully they can keep some of that stuff in play and keep some of that stuff organized, and then, like I said, keep going from there.
And they also had the fan interest. That's one of the biggest things that was noticeable. And, I think a lot of people were quick to, I guess, put the tag of failure on them. And I think it's unfair because, like you said, the pandemic is really what caused the XFL to shut down. And had that not happened, I honestly felt like it would have been a successful league and definitely would have grown as the years were coming.
It would have. And like I said, they already had plans to expand to more teams and everything else. So, like I said, it's a bad thing for the fans because, like I said, you got a chance to lose a great sports organization or a sports league like that, where, like I said, you got baseball that was rolling during the spring, and like I said, and you got the WNBA, so it was just another window to be able to fit in with football, and you still had the NBA. It was, like I said, for a sports fan like myself, I had a great time during the spring until COVID showed up.
Let's tilt towards coaching. Tell us, how'd you get started with coaching?
Like I said, I think I always been a coach when I was playing, and like I said, and kind of helping guys. And once I became in the NFL, once I became that veteran and helping the younger guys, teaching them, I think I always had the itch of wanting to get into coaching. Once me and my wife moved back here to the Atlanta area, Todrick Malone, he was the offensive coordinator at Tucker High School. So I got a chance to contact him, and he got me hired under Franklin Stevens, which is his first year being head coach. So that was my first head coaching job over at Tucker High School. And while we was there under Franklin Stevens' leadership, like I said, we won 2 state championships while I was there. So, like I said, that's what kind of got me into coaching because I always wanted to keep staying around the game of football, especially after AFL dropped, because, like I said, that hurt my feelings right there. But like I said, I wanted to stay close to the game of football, and like I said, I love seeing the ability to teach something to the kids and then seeing them put it out on the football field.
Now, seeing what you're seeing now with high school football, has the game changed since you were playing high school football?
Oh yeah, like I said, just the introduction of the spread offense. Because like when I played high school football, we were running out the wishbone. We were 2 tight end wishbone, and now, like I said, I'm a spread guy now. Like I said, I run a lot of, like I said, 11 personnel, 10 personnel type of things, and I try to throw the ball around some. This year, I got a really good quarterback. He was really, really good with his feet, and I got to start working and developing him as a passer. But like I said, it's just you have so many athletes that's playing the game of football now. You just try to spread them out and kind of get them the ball in space and let them do what they got to do.
I'd like to definitely touch more on your role as a mentor and as a leader. What are the biggest lessons that you've learned from your time at Alabama as well as NFL that you're trying to teach your players now?
Man, I'm gonna tell you a thing that my dad always told me when I first started playing football. He told me to start what you finish. So, and that's one biggest thing that I try to harp to my kids. I was like, if you come out here and start playing football, you got to make sure that you finish through the season. Because if you start quitting on football, then you'll start quitting on your job. Then you'll start quitting on everything else, and it just kind of trickle down effect. So that's probably one of the biggest things that I've taken from football. Like I said, there's something that my dad and always hammered into my head from day one.
What do you tell your players when they're entering college? It could be a big college or a small college. What is the first thing you tell them?
I tell them, make sure that you like that place from January to July. Don't fall in love with a place from August to December. Because every place that you go to play football, it's going to be good times. They're going to have games, but you got to learn to live there from January to July. Because that's where you're going to be studying, you're going to be working out, and it may not be football games you got to go to, and it might not be as many people that's on campus during the summertime. You got to make sure that you love the school that you're at, and then make sure that football is a bonus when it comes to that.
What takeaways from Coach DeBose and Francione and then Coach Billick do you incorporate into your coaching style?
One thing that I got from Coach Billick is the organization piece. I know when I first got there, he had every practice scheduled, every meeting scheduled from the first day of training camp to the Super Bowl. And so I try to do the same thing with my high school kids. And like I said, usually I have a schedule built out for them already. Like I said, this year with the pandemic kind of made it a little tough just because you don't know how things change up in the air. Everything's so fluid. But that's one thing that I learned from him. Dennis Franchione, I learned it's the leadership council. He did a lot of things about trying to build team leadership, help build his seniors up, make sure that they become, and not even their seniors, like just the kids that's going to be the face of the program. Help build those kids up that's going to be the face of the program and getting those things together. And what I learned from Mike Dubose was I learned from Dubose, like I said, let your players play. That's one of the biggest things that he did while we was there. Like I said, he found the best players that he could. Like I said, he had his coaches go out there, hey, you need to instruct them, but like I said, we brought these kids here for a reason to do certain things. Let them go out here and do it. And I try to do the same thing with my kids. Like I said, the kids that got here, I try to find out what their strengths are, and I try to find a way to showcase those strengths as much as possible.
You definitely have a lot of influence. Your dad, and like the coaches you went through. I mean, you're a all-star coach, to be honest. You got a lot packed in.
I appreciate it. I try, like I said, I try to. Like I said, like I said, I got some good coaches that are around me. Like I said, it's just, like I said, you are a product of your environment, and like you said, and I got an opportunity to be around a lot of great guys through my coaching career. Some guys I mentioned, some guys that didn't, former players that's coaches now that we talk to and rely on. Like I said, it's a good thing. And like I said, I try to take the good and the bad for every single coach. Even the guys that worked in high school, Franklin Stevens, Michael Youngblood, Brian Lamar, guys that's successful head coaches here in the state of Georgia, Earthwind Moreland, guys that I work with here. I try to take little things that I learned from each one of them and try to build it into my own coaching philosophy, good and bad.
How's the talent pool that you see in your high school or like in your area? Is it like you see a lot of these players that are 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars? Like, what have you seen so far?
Like I said, like just around the corner from me, we got McKeitron High School that my former first head coach, Franklin Stevens, is the head coach at. And like I said, he has a lot of 4 or 5 star kids. And like I said, here at South Carolina, we have a lot of talent. Like I said, I just got to be able to develop the talent and cultivate that talent to make sure that we're being successful. And like I said, and just put us in positions to be able to win. But in the state of Georgia, and especially in the metro area of Atlanta, there is a lot of talent. And there's a lot of kids that's around here that's going to be playing on Sundays or going to be playing in Power 5 conferences. And like I said, a lot of that talent we see night in and night out on Fridays.
How often do you get a call from Alabama? Hey, Terry, what's going on up there? Any player that should be watching out for?
Like I said, when we had the recruiting process, like I said, a coach would come by here every time. And like I said, it was, like I said, just to see. Because they never know. Because Alabama, and like it's a lot of other schools, they do what they can to try to turn over every stone they can to try to find some players.
There's something I want to touch on that I've really have picked up from our conversation, and it really means a lot. Especially is something that really needs to be discussed in today's society, and just how selfless of a player you were, and how you were not really about the spotlight. I brought up, instances where I felt like you could have been featured in an offense more as a catcher, but you've really found joy in just doing whatever the job called for. And you just don't really see that very often now, because society definitely does not really teach that to this up and coming generation. How have you really, conveyed that same message of selflessness and being a team player to your team?
Like I said, it's a work in progress, because with the age of social media and cell phones and the internet, like I said, it can create a lot of false hype and a lot of false confidence in some kids sometimes. But like I said, me growing up, it started off at home. Like I said, between my mom and my dad. Like I said, they always told me to stay humble. And like I said, my mom sat around. She got 2 degrees. She came from Bessemer, Alabama. She came from a, like I said, single parent household with 5, 6, 7 siblings, and she became very successful. Like I said, same thing. My dad, he came from Sandersville, Georgia, and came to Tuscaloosa and been there ever since. And like I said, it's a humbling experience when your parents be successful and you will never see them beating their chest. So I try to teach the same thing to my kids, because when you sitting there beating your chest, your opponent is running past you, or you missing the opportunity to be successful or get better. So those are kind of things I try to harp into my kids, as far as, like I said, worry about the right now, let somebody else pat you on the back, because there's always something else that you can get better at every single day. And like I said, and that's what me and my wife are trying to do, the same thing with my two older kids, and I got a third one that's a 7-month-old, trying to harp those same things into them, as far as, like I said, just staying humble, just put your head down, keep working, and then you'll see the fruits of that labor if you keep on working, just keep moving forward.
Terry, wow, that's very inspiring. Hard work, leads to success. I am very deeply inspired. Have you thought about possibly coaching in college?
I do. Like I said, I always do. But like I said, like I said, it's one step at a time. I want to get the opportunity to be successful in high school. And I know it'll be, like I said, for a guy in high school to make it to college, you got to be successful at the high school level. So that's what I'm trying to make sure that I get the opportunity to do my best here at the high school level to be successful. And then if the opportunity presents itself, I'll take it. But like I said, I enjoy my time coaching high school. I enjoy my time here at South Cobb.
I bet your name is being floated around. Justin, one more before we enter to rapid fire.
Are
you ready right now?
Well, I am ready, but I just wanted to ask, for your team this year, with all the craziness aside, what are your goals coming in? You told me that you have a lot of seniors turning in key positions. What does your team look like this year, and what is your end goal?
Like I said, my end goal is for us to make the playoffs. Like I said, I took over a team when I first got here. It was an 0-10 team. Like I said, a year before that, I think it was like 1-9. So my biggest thing is just trying to make sure that I can get there mentally, to get them prepared to be successful. And just understand, like I said, when we have one good play going, that's just one play. I got to make sure we have 2 good plays and then 3 good plays, and just being consistent. And that's one thing that this going in my 4th year being here, the head football coach at South Cobb, it's just us continue to be consistent every single game and every single phase. And if we just keep on keeping our head down and keep chopping away at the wood and just keep working, like I said, we can be successful. And like I said, at the end, our goal is to make the playoffs every single year. I told my kids here, everywhere I coached at, my goal is to win a state championship. I don't care what other people say. Like I said, that's our goal. We're going to keep on busting our behinds to make sure that we can get a chance to fight and be one of those 32 teams in the playoffs, and just get a chance to get a shot at holding up that trophy at the end of the year.
That's awesome, Terry. Wow. Setting those goals, get the
awesome.
playoffs, win a championship. Rapid fire. This is a moment where we ask a question and you answer as fast as you can. I start. Who was the best player that you played against?
Best player I played against, Javon Curse.
Ooh.
Justin remembers him.
Oh, I don't think anyone can forget him, the freak. Now, some of these questions we have from the audience, and just so happens we have somebody from our audience who was your former teammate, Marvin Constant.
I've heard of him.
He likes doing this each time we have somebody from y'all's era. So this is going to be good. He got a mod good last week.
Marvin looks so like he's ready to play again, it feels like. But anyways, sorry, go ahead.
Okay, your career at Alabama was very explosive. One moment came at your home. Can you tell us about the time that Marvin Constant set off a bag of fireworks in your living room?
Okay, so Marvin, I'm not gonna go too much in detail about it. So Marvin went and got some fireworks, and so he was always the prankster amongst in the apartment complex. So one time, Mr. Constant got a dead fish and put it into our air vent in our apartment complex. So me and my roommate, we sit here cleaning the whole apartment, and he's just sitting here laughing about the dead fish. And like I said, it took us about a week to figure out that he did this. But so he got some fireworks, and he's sitting around here playing around with it. And like you said, he threw the fireworks in the living room, and we ran like roaches. And like you said, he like I don't even know why he brought that question up, because like I said,
I bring him on and try to explain that.
I'm gonna leave it at that.
This Marvin, man. Yeah,
no.
James.
Terry, which college football game was the most memorable for you?
Most memorable college football
game for you that you played in, obviously.
Yeah, like I said, I love all the Iron Bowls that we won, but the last one with me catching this game-winning touchdown in Independence Bowl, that one that kind of sticks out with me the most.
And that's actually on one of our promo videos. So audience, go back and check that out.
I saw that. I was excited.
All right, next question is from Adam Hall. He actually went to Alabama the same time we did, and he noticed your basketball skill a lot during pickup games. If you could go back in time, would you have played both basketball and football at Alabama?
Great question.
Yeah. Yes, I would have. Like that's one of my biggest regrets, because Mark Garford was the head coach there. And so when I got signed into Alabama, he gave me the choice when I got done playing football my freshman year to go out there and play basketball. And like I said, I decided against it because I was like, I just wanted to focus on playing football and just kind of doing those things. But like I said, right now, I wish I would have went out there and at least played or suited up at least once in the Crimson Tide uniform for basketball. So that's one of those things that, like, if I can get back in the time portal and go back in time, that I would go back and be like, all right, Coach Godfrey, I'm gonna play for you this semester. I mean, for the spring semester, spring part of the year, and we'll see where it goes from there.
Was that permissible back then, like to play in two sports?
Yeah, because like I said, because my primary sport would have been football, so I would kind of been a walk on to the basketball team.
Another rapid fire question: do you think Lamar Jackson can bring a Super Bowl to Baltimore?
Yes, he's going to do it this year. Like I said, the team had to go through some stumbling blocks, just like Kansas City has a couple of years ago. Like I said, I think they figured out what he can do, and they put in a lot of great weapons around him. So I think this is the year that we're going to bring another Super Bowl back to Baltimore.
Who do you pull for like the NFL typically?
Baltimore and San Francisco. Those are my teams.
Oh, okay. Not the Packers, right? I'm just curious about that.
Oh yeah, I cheer for them too, but my dad cheered for them enough for both of them, so I got to make sure I cheer for my team. But if the Packers and the Ravens are playing, I'm cheering for the Ravens.
Sticking with basketball, who wins a pickup game between you and Erwin Dudley?
Oh, Erwin gonna beat me, but I'm gonna give him everything. I'm gonna give him everything that he wants. Erwin like 6'7", so it's gonna be hard for me to get a jump. It's gonna be hard for me to get some shots over him on the paint. But I think, like I said, 1-on-1, I'm gonna give him everything he wants. But I ain't played a lot of basketball lately, so he might get me now. I'm gonna need about 6 months to get myself back in shape. Then I'll be ready for him.
He's still only a few years removed from playing overseas, so
I know.
He may still have it.
I know he probably still does. So that's why I was like, I need some time to get back in shape.
Yeah, I mean, we talked to him like a couple of weeks ago. He seems like he's in shape still. Like,
yeah, he probably is.
He probably can play a game right now with scrimmage in the NBA up in Orlando.
I know. That's why I'm not trying to step on his toes to get him started.
Kobe or LeBron?
Oh, LeBron all day. I'm a LeBron James fan.
Okay, what do you look like in a Nick Saban / Steve Sarkisian offense?
Oh, great question. Great question.
That is a great question. I'm gonna tell you the truth. I'm probably not playing offense. I'm probably playing the 5 technique or a jack linebacker, to tell you the truth.
Who do you think is the best tight end in the NFL right now?
Best tight end in the NFL. Oh, that's a good one. Oh, I like the guy.
Still Gronk?
I like the guy from Kansas City. I like Grunt too. I like Grunt too. Like I said, he's a good one. There is a guy, I can't think of his name. I'm trying to remember where he's at. Oh, I can't remember. It'll pop up to me as soon as we get off of this Zoom call. I'm gonna forget.
I have Google, so like, which team is he playing?
and I'm the king of random information. So between all that, we can come up with it.
Yeah, I know. And give me a second. I'm gonna think about it when we get finished. I gotta think about it.
No problem.
All right. Who has the best barbecue spot in Tuscaloosa?
Oh, my dad. I'm gonna tell you that.
Really?
Yes.
Tell us about it. Tell us.
Yes. Like I said, my dad, he's been grilling and doing barbecue forever. So, like I said, whenever we come to Tuscaloosa, he's gonna be on the grill. He's gonna be grilling some ribs, smoking some burgers. And you can ask my teammates, any of them that been to the house, they know. Like I said, my dad can throw down on that grill. So, like I said, he does. Like I said, if he's watching this, he already knows. And any of my teammates, he already knows. I'm gonna tell you, Marvin not bad on the grill too, but I ain't gonna give him too much praise right now because he brought up that dang fireworks in the living room thing.
It seems like you were like the closest with Marvin, weren't you?
Yeah. So me and Marvin went to high school together. I know Marvin since we was in the 6th grade, and so we had known each other all through high school, all through middle school, high school, college. Like I said, right now Marvin stayed about 25 minutes from me. He been trying to get me to come to his house and work out. If you go see Marvin now, Marvin can still play. I'm not ready for
can.
He looks like it.
Yeah, Marvin does a good job of staying in shape. I need to be able to drive home and get to work the next day. So I've been running. So maybe once football season over with, I might go out there and get a workout in with him. But right now, I'm gonna keep running. I'm gonna keep running away from him.
Hey man, you got work to do. Who was your favorite Alabama from last season? Your favorite Alabama player from last season.
Oh, favorite Alabama player. Let's see.
That you loved.
Waddle. Jalen Waddle.
Interesting.
He's one of my favorite people. Like I said, he's lightning in the bottle. He's lightning in the bottle. He just, when he catch that ball, you don't blink too fast. I mean, don't blink too much because you're gonna miss him.
Would you ever become a recruiter?
Yes, I would. I think I would. Like I said, an opportunity to stay close to the game and do all those kind of things. I would.
Which Alabama player from this past NFL draft would you pick on your fantasy football team?
Went to the Oakland Raiders. I forgot his name.
Ruggs.
Henry Ruggs.
Everyone says him. Everyone.
Yep, they do.
Henry Ruggs. Like, I'm going to tell you, like I said, he's one, but Jerry Jeudy is a close two. And once I see Tua play a little bit, it might be Tua. Because, like I said, I already know he's gonna end up lighting it up. Because I think Miami got some good pieces around him so he can be successful. But between Jerry Jeudy and Henry Ruggs, it's going to be a close two between the two of those two guys.
Yeah, this season's going to be there's a lot of good wide receivers, so there's definitely plenty a whole lot to choose from. What would you tell Tua Tagovailoa in his first season going into the Dolphins?
Man, I would tell him to learn as much as possible. And like I said, and the biggest thing if he don't have to play, sit back there and learn. Because I think it's been proven when you have a high first-round quarterback like Aaron Rodgers and you get a chance to sit back and learn from a veteran and see the things that they've done and catch it to the speed of the game. Even Patrick Mahomes, you get a chance for you guys to kind of sit for a year and learn. Then the next year you can get a chance to be successful. But sometimes you might get thrown into the fire, so you just got to be prepared for it.
Justin, one more before we land this plane.
I think I got all my questions asked, although I would like to throw something out there. Maybe have a joint show with you and your dad and like a game day type thing for the sportscast and do some grilling. How
How
much
hard
of a
would that?
possibility would
Yeah.
that
Let
be?
me talk to him and see, because like I said, he's a busy man, and so
Oh, I know.
let me see if I can work it into his schedule and
That's
get a
awesome.
chance to do it. Like you said, and I think he'll be more than willing to be able to do it. If we can do it for a game day or maybe during the off season sometime, I'll try. I'm gonna sit there and work on him and see can I get him to do it.
And
You
what are your
know,
thoughts? Yeah, sorry. Go ahead, Justin.
oh, I was going to say, one thing I am picking up from a lot of these former legends, they're legends on the grill too. George Teague said the same thing. Marvin thinks that he's the king.
They can cook.
But
It's
Marvin can
becoming
cook for
a
real.
pattern here. So I'm thinking we might need to have a cook-off.
Yeah, you might want to, but I tell you, like I said, like Marvin can cook. Like I will give him his props on that. Marvin, he knows his way around the kitchen and the grill, and I'm gonna give him his props on that one though.
Are you a ribs guy or a wings guy?
Like I said, right now I've been trying to cut back meat, but I'm a ribs guy. Like if I get some good ribs, I'm gonna get off my little diet. I'm gonna eat these ribs.
I hear you.
Anyways, like we were speaking before, this college football season is going to be quite different. It's going to be in conference only. What are your thoughts about this season? I know it's like the whole pandemic, but what have you been hearing, and what are your thoughts?
Like I said, I think it's good that we're getting a chance to play, but I want to make sure that we're doing what's best for the players and make sure we're doing best for college football. I don't want money to be the deciding factor why we putting these young men at risk to be able to play football. And the same thing with high school. Like I said, I want to do what's best for our kids. And I want to make sure that I know as far as I'm a coach, I'm trying to take every precaution in my power to make sure that I do what's best for my kids and make sure they stay healthy. And I hope some of these colleges, which they are, for the most part, doing whatever they can to keep these kids healthy. And this 10-game SEC slate is going to be a monster. I know everybody in the world been wanting the SEC to play 10 games, so now they're going to get it. So if we end up getting 3 teams in the Final Four, I don't want people to be mad because we didn't play the best teams that's out there.
I agree. And how is your high school season? Are you guys going to have games this fall, or?
Yeah, we're going to have games. So they pushed the start our regular season back 2 weeks.
Okay.
So our first official game is going to be the Friday of Labor Day. I think it's September 4th. So they're going to be our first game. So right now, today was our first day in pads. So got a chance to kind of work the kids in that way. We'll do a week in shells. The next week we'll go full gear. And then that following week, we have a scrimmage against Villa Rica. It's another school about 30 minutes down the road from us here in Austell.
Sounds good. Seems like Georgia's on. Mississippi is closed all fall, and I think Alabama is kind of open, right?
Yeah.
Right, Justin, for high school?
Alabama's open. Now, Mississippi is still allowing it to go in certain school districts. There's only one school district that has said we're not doing it whatsoever. But everyone else, for the most part, right now is saying it's a go. I haven't heard anyone canceling anything in Alabama yet. Yeah. So right now,
I know the state of Alabama, they didn't change anything, so they're sticking to the schedule right now. But like I said, it's just my concern is once we start playing, they got to make. I was talking to a coach today. I just hope that the other coach becomes that transparent with his coaches and his players, and with the other team as well. And
right.
I just hope coaches don't choose winning over the health of their players or another team. Because if a kid end up catching it or something happened and he's your star player, I need for people to be adults and make the adult decision, because the kids won't. We can't rely on the kids to make those decisions. But we also got to rely on the kids to make sure that they're being forthright and telling us the truth about what's going on in their lives, so we can be able to make educated decisions.
Tough decision for everyone. Also, for coaches as well in the game, high school and college. So we'll see how things will do for this fall. Heading towards the end of the show, we're going to a poll question of the day, which you can find on Twitter. Which is your favorite chocolate chip cookie? Chips Ahoy, Hamus Amos, Lenny and Larry's, or Tate's chocolate?
Oh, Chips Ahoy.
Okay.
I'm picking Chips Ahoy. Yeah.
Justin?
Chips Ahoy. I mean, that caused me to have a very happy childhood. So
I agree.
Famous Amos close second.
Yes.
Chips Ahoy is tied with Famous Amos for first place. Then goes Tate's, and then Lenny and Larry's, which is like those little protein cookies that Justin avoids to eat.
Yeah. If I'm gonna eat cookies, I'm not gonna eat healthy cookies. I'm gonna get my calories.
And of course, you can go vote at the Sportscast 1. You got a few more hours to go. Let's go into closing words. We'll go with Terry first.
Like I said, thank you for the opportunity of being on here and kind of talk a little football and talk about my team and talk about my family and my background. Y'all, like I said, you guys do a great job. I'm glad Justin hit me up on Facebook and asked me to come on. And like I said,
hey, 100 times, right?
I don't know. I'm gonna tell you, like, I don't check Facebook a lot. Sometimes, like, I get on there and get a rant and send a bunch of stuff. But sometimes I don't check the messenger and all that kind of stuff. So, like I said, I happened to go in there and check it was about a month ago. He asked me to come on the show, and I was like, sure. Like I said, as long as I can fit it around football practice and be able to get it in, we're good. But like I said, hey guys, I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on. It was fun.
Justin Riley.
Man, no, thank you for coming on. You definitely played in a very special era. Of course, it's our era, and I feel like we had some men of great character. That's one of the things that you and I talked about the other night, coming from that team. And I really just have loved, going through your journey and what message it sends to not only our listeners, but the athletes who are out there that are playing for you and maybe playing for you, and also who are listening. I love the message of being selfless, being humble, that you projected today, and finding joy in whatever it takes, to lead your team to a win. And that's something that really needs to be injected more into society, especially the world of sports. But yeah, definitely appreciate you coming on, and look forward to having you on again.
Appreciate you,
Terry. And what is the best way for people to contact you online? Reach out to you.
You can go follow me on my social media. It's at South Cobb HFC. You can go follow me on social media on my Instagram is South Cobb Football. Those are two of the best ways to catch up with me through social media.
South Cobb HFC on Twitter. And of course, for the Sportscast, you can reach us at the Sportscast 1 or on our website, thesportscast.net. And Justin Riley, what is the best way to reach you to talk to you about Lenny and Larry's cookies?
Please pick another subject.
How bad they are, because they're not really protein cookies, right?
I don't even recognize them as something I'd eat.
Terry ignores them too.
You can find me on Twitter at Justin Riley 7, Instagram at Justin Riley _7. I also help contribute regularly to the Sportscast on Twitter and Instagram at Sportscast 1. And I also will write articles on occasion on our website, thesportscast.net. I also like to take the time to remind our audience that next week we have another Tide legend coming on. And that's former wide receiver Marquise Mays. So be here for that.
That should be pretty exciting. Alabama Tuesdays till September 26th is when the college football season begins for the SEC, the only conference that matters. Tomorrow we have a Champions League preview. Soccer resumes this weekend internationally, and we'll see what happens with European ball. NBA has started already. So far, so good. MLB had a few hiccups, but the league is still continuing. NFL is the big question mark, but as far as I know, not everyone has opted out. Justin Riley has opted out from the NFL. right, Justin?
Only because of my knees.
Terry, you're the man. What a influence, family, playing like under coaches, and I really think that God's gonna bless you way more down the road.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Appreciate you guys coming on to the Sportcast. And one more time, roll
Tide.